that is Sergio Fitzpatrick, part of the Camaro team. As we mentioned, kind of in the spirit of the Garage 56 entry a few years ago in the Le Mans 24 Hours in the real world. We've got our very own here in the Race for a Cause 24, which is fantastic in 2025. The Camaro currently out there running down towards the back end of the GT3 field, but as we've heard, that car a little bit down on a bit of downforce, especially compared to some of the other GT3s in the field. Let's get back to some of the other battling out there on the circuit. 7th in LMP2 is a 3-car battle. We've already seen these kinds of battles go wrong in the past. Hopefully it doesn't this time round. Rainbow Racing Luna just moving through into 7th place down towards the first Mulsanne chicane.
And that's going to be Nate currently piloting that, just getting ahead there of the 26, leaving side by side between the 42 and the 26 down the Mulsanne once more. The helping hand being in the favor of the 26 right now. That slipstream going to be playing a crucial role, and really it's down to the 16's choice on who they want to give it to. Nate says, well, I'm going to pick the racing line, and whoever is there is just going to have to benefit from it. A nice little late braking maneuver, though, for the 42 to secure the position. Taylor Mills up there holding on to 22nd overall, but 8th in category, and as I say that, looks like it's going to be a 7th in category. A bit of a mistake there from the Rainbow Racing Luna. Nate giving up one for free, but the gloves are not coming back on just yet, Ewan. This is all out war.
Late braking in towards Mulsanne corner again there as well. It was quite close. Alexander Miller will lead the trio on the way back out of Mulsanne corner. Nate Halastik just in behind, and then Seve Delancos in 9th place behind. Stephen Kelly is only 6 seconds further behind, but since Delancos just got past number 67, I wouldn't be surprised that it stays just these three rather than those in behind actually catching up as well. Down in towards Indianapolis, and they will remain single file as well. LMP2 always a very difficult class to be a part of in one of these races, letting through hypercars and passing GT3s all at the same time, especially these days I find, because the hypercars are not with the bigger speed advantage as they did have back in the LMP1 days. LMP2 and hypercar are actually quite similar these days in terms of speed.
Yeah, and you really do kind of like to see that. It makes the side-by-side battles, especially through the Porsche curves, very, very difficult if you are the hypercar. We have the saying, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away, which, if anyone, by the way, we haven't mentioned this here in a minute, that is one of the keywords that Ewan has decided that if you do have the money to do so, put a quid into the jar every time we say traffic, and every time, what was the other key phrase? But either way, of course, for the great cause, it's going to be the LGBTQ plus community there for the youth in Ireland. An incredible charity event here, and we've already raised about $2,800 or 2,800 euros. 3,000 is the goal, folks. Just a reminder on that. Let's hit it within this next hour. Would love to see it. 24 hours though on the clock overall, 21 hours and 21 minutes remaining, and nearly, well, 21 seconds. You and the battles through the field, especially in the LMP2 category. This is where it really seems to be. The hypercars separating and having a bit of respect. This is a knife fight in a phone booth is how I would describe the LMP2 category.
It is. It's in certain pockets of the field. It certainly is. Through the Tetrus S. A little look down the inside. Oh, a bit of indecision. Oh, you've got to be decisive in those situations there. And unfortunately, a little bit of a stack up. The 026 will just sit through on the inside line as a little, free wide briefly as they go either side of the Mustang. And that is going to be Nate Halastik losing a place to Delancos here. Or is it, let's see, on the way towards the first Mulsanne chicane. It looks like that 026 might have a bit more strength and speed. They're pretty even. Side by side into the first chicane, it will be Delancos who goes through on the inside line ahead of Halastik. It's a small mistake, and as I mentioned, you've got to be decisive in those situations, especially through Tetrus, which is such an important corner for the run onto the straight.
It is, but you also need to remember how much time is left. We've seen it before, we've seen it, and we're gonna see it again, no doubt. You can't just be going for the move just because you can. It's the Ayrton Senna-esque mentality might not necessarily apply here at all times. If gap think about taking it. And if you think about taking it, well, you've probably missed your opportunity. That is, of course, the problem with how fast these cars travel in this day and age. And, you know, speaking of that, I had in my fun facts that these are, you know, you mentioned the fact that most of these cars nowadays are slower than they were in the past. And back in 1988 was when we had the speed record set here at 253 miles an hour down a Mulsanne straight. Now, of course, that was before they added all of those, you know, chicane things to slow the cars down and, I don't know, prevent them from going 200 miles an hour into a barrier. Who thought that was a good, no, it's a great idea. Safety has improved over the years, and we love to see that.
It certainly has. Even in the fairly recent times, the Le Mans circuit has changed very rapidly. Meanwhile, side by side on the way towards Indianapolis, one of those few corners that actually hasn't changed very much, really. Indianapolis and Arnage side by side on the way through, and he changed for position. Halastik straight back through again on De Moncos for 8th. Meanwhile, out front, the Queen's Design car is taking a while in this pit stop. Over 80 seconds so far, now finally gets out. That looks to me like it might be a speeding penalty for Asa Nyampa. I'm not sure if it is. We'll get confirmation from Team 56, but that's going to be a costly one. It's a little bit of a difficult place to speed. It's obviously any pit lane you can speed onto, but you at such a low speed coming through the pit entry here, because that is quite an awkward, fiddly chicane on its own, that you don't often see speeding penalties around there, but that looks to me as if it could be what's happened. 122 in the box is about twice as long as it should be in LMP2.
Could be a case of forgetting to turn the pit limiter on, maybe, who knows, but anyone that has watched me in the past knows exactly what I'm about to say. Practice your pit entries, folks. You spend hundreds of laps on this track getting lap times in and trying to improve there. Go down the pit lane 2, 3, 10, 15 times, and you're going to find a significant advantage over the rest of your field, and heck, maybe you won't even pick up a speeding penalty, which is going to be detrimental to your day. Practice your pit entries, folks. But either way, with that off the cards, seeing some really nice liveries out there, and I just want to make that Corvette that we just passed by, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I think Darrow was putting his hat in the ring for one of the cars in the first 2 hours. Maybe it was even this one. Don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, he'll be back a little bit later on, around the 1/3 mark of the race. Back again for another stint in the booth as we go into the night here at Le Mans. It's not quite going to be the long nighttime hours in towards the late evening, as you see sometimes in the real world race. This, of course, in the real world is the race with the shortest amount of nighttime driving, but we are a couple of months short of the race in today's date, and so nightfall will be a little bit earlier. It's nothing quite like night time at Le Mans, though. Going to be a very, very special atmosphere at that time, as it always is in these events. As we continue to follow this battle in LMP2, it looks like Nate Halastik just has begun to stretch away slightly in the LMP2 class. Not all that much going on in GT3 in the last few moments, but we have just had a change for second. Volta Motorsport just got past TSR with VR Racing. Stomach Havada passing Ivan Chambers for second place, and